this video will be just going over the Ultimate Flow Series package that I offer, and it is controlled by Blueghost, as you may already know. So this is the controller. This is the Blueghost controller. It comes potted, so it's seal tight. It's water resistant. So this is the controller, like I said, and then the controller comes with two cables, one for the passenger side because it's furthest away from one for the driver's side, sorry, because it's furthest away from the battery, and then a plug for the passenger side. These are waterproof barrel plugs, so you just plug them into each corresponding headlight and, you know, turn this angle, right, turn this portion so you can have a tight waterproof seal. So yeah, so that's basically the controller. You have your left, your right harness connector, and then you have your power and ground. So this goes to the power of the battery, and then this goes to the ground of the battery. And then for those that have the demonize in the build, this is what you put the power on the power on the battery. So basically these two go together to power on the battery, and then this goes to the ground on the battery. So that's basically it for this controller. Like I said, Blueghost setup. It's a Blueghost controller. You have left and right. Each connector is a barrel connector, and each headlight comes with their corresponding connector. So this is going to be plugged into that, and then you just screw it to have a seal. And then each headlight, like I said, has its own plug. So each headlight only has one plug. This has one plug. I forget what these are called, but I use this so the wires don't move around. And then also each headlight comes with, like I said, one connector that goes into the harness, and then each has their corresponding turn signal connector that you would have to tap into your bumper lights. I put posi taps at the end of these. So if you don't know what posi taps are, just Google it or YouTube it and you'll see how posi. It's pretty simple how to use it on a application. And then your system is already wired up into the DRL and welcome animation, so you don't have to worry about that. Only thing you have to worry about is connecting these connectors to the harness and then tapping into your turn signals, and that's basically it. That's the whole system of the Blueghost setup. And now I'll just be going over how I do the system, or how I do the Blueghost. And if you ever want to customize anything in the future, you can just follow this video, because I'll just go over every little thing in the system, because it's a whole lot. You have a ton of customization with this setup, and yeah. Alright, so basically, like I said, it's the headlights. Before I even go over what the app has and all of its customization, real quick, this is just a blacked out housing build. Blacked out housing, frost white, eyebrow and crescents, and a RGBW halos. The whole system is RGBW, that stands for red, green, blue, and white. So it has a dedicated white chip in the LEDs. These LEDs are from Next Level Neo. They're pretty bright. They're SK6812 LEDs. So yeah, so like I said, RGB Flow Series build, powered by Blueghost. So this is the Ultimate Flow Series build that I offer. That's what it's called, Ultimate Flow Series build. And then let's get right into the app. So when you get into the app, it's gonna look like this, right? And then you're just gonna hit Blueghost, and then it's gonna ask you to make a passcode. You can make a passcode. You basically do this to protect your build, so no one can have the app on their phone and then control your headlights. So I'll just skip for now, and then he's gonna ask you to pair. You hit pair, and then it's gonna load right there. I shouldn't tap it. Now, so all these are my setups. So first, let's start from left to right. So this section right here is your home. The home section is where you do all your show modes. So these are all the show modes I have loaded up. If I just hit one, it starts doing its thing. If you ever want to stop it, just hit it again. Hit another one. So yeah, so that's the show mode. So you just, when you get your build, this is going to be empty. Just hit the plus, then it's going to do a random show mode. These are all your show modes. Right? You can, let me just do one so you can actually see what that is. Let's do orbit. So I can actuate the speed. So every show mode has its own customization. So right here, the strength icon is how strong the LED strength is. So if I put it down super low, and then it See, so it's super high, it's gonna be, you can't really see an animation, so you can control the width of the beam. That's what that strength means. You can make it smaller, make it bigger. You can make the animation go super fast. You can make it go super slow. You can adjust the dimness, because these are pretty bright on camera. So you can adjust the dimness right here, make it really dim, and then you can play around with the colors. So we can delete colors. Right now it's showing 6 colors. You can have a maximum of 6 colors. I can delete them only showing 3 or 2, and then I can change that color. So maybe I want it to be blue, right? So yeah, so you can mess around with this. So every show mode is customizable, and you can do that. And then you can name the show modes here. So yeah, so that's the show mode section. In addition, in this area you can also chain multiple show modes. So say you're at the car show and you have a lot of show modes you have linked up. This icon right here where it says, look like a book, you just click it and maximize, not maximize, but add all the show modes you want. So I'm gonna add all these in sequence. So I'm gonna do 7 show modes in sequence. Then right here it says play. You hit play, and then this tells you how long it's going to take to switch in between show modes. So every 5 seconds it's going to switch to the next one. So now you have a playlist kind of a show mode playing. So you're at a car show, you can just have that running in the background and it does all the show modes by itself. So yeah, so that's the show mode section. And then if you want to stop, you just hit stop and then just deselect the ones that you have. And that's the show modes. So now, the next thing on the list is the car icon. This icon is where you get to select your different aspects of the headlight, meaning you can control the colors of each and every individual section of the headlight. So first, these top icons show you what is being powered at the moment. So you use this top section to kind of troubleshoot things. So this will tell you what's being powered. So right now I have the DRL lights powered, I have the reverse light powered, I have the braking light powered. I'll get into that later. So that's why you have these 3 icons selected right now. So they're being powered. So when the turn signal is running, you're gonna see it power itself. So if you look over here, I have the turn signal running. See? It's gonna be powering. So you use this section, the top section, to kind of troubleshoot things as are going on the light. So if you're wondering why this is not working, you select it in your car, say you turn your turn signal on and then this doesn't illuminate, that means your connection to the turn signal is not connected correctly. So you troubleshoot with this section. This section tells you what's operating when it gets power. So quickly, the first section, turn signals, that's very self-explanatory. This icon right here is orange. Obviously your turn signals are orange. You can change the color of your turn signals. Simply you tap that and then you change it in the color wheel. So make your turn signals orange, obviously yellow, white. You can make whatever you want. So if I were to make my turn signals blue, my turn signals pink, for whatever reason, it's pink. So that's that. So you have that customization. So I'm gonna put it back to orange-ish. So that's orange. So now this section underneath the turn signals is your animation. So you have multiple different animations for your turn signals. You have about 7, I think. So basic just flashes. That's what basic does when it's on. It just flashes. And then we have the animations now. We have wave. Wave is pretty common. So it does that. And then you can customize the strength. So you know, I already went over what the strength is. You increase that. It's gonna be a longer LED count that does the animations. So it's longer, see that? It's longer. If I make it smaller, it's gonna be a smaller LED count that does the animation, like that. And then if I increase the speed, it's gonna do it faster. So that's that. So you can play around with it. There's other ones, like for instance, sequence, bounce is a, bubble is like an interesting one. It just starts from the middle, I think. Yeah, and it goes in. So you can customize that as well. So that's the turn signal section. So the parking light section has two light options. I call this the parking light or the DRL. DRL stands for daytime running lights. So this is the light color that's going to come on when the car is on or when you unlock the car. So first off, we have two options up here. So this is one, and when I make these lights, section 1 controls the brow. The brow is just the LEDs in the brow, and then DRL2, section 2 controls the color here. So with that being said, if I were to change the first one, so the first one, I click that, and I'm gonna change that to say red, right? The eyebrow is gonna be red or orange. I change that to blue, green. Only the top is gonna be blue or green. So obviously you can change the crescent to a different color. I can make that blue. Now the crescent is blue. So you kind of understand that aspect of it. You can mix and match and give your headlights a different look compared to generic builds out there that only you can change the color of everything at once. This one you can individualize certain sections and make it your own. So that's these two sections. Now I know I'm jumping around. If you want to control the halo, I always tie that to the brake signal. So now I just tap on the brake signal, and then I can change the halos to whatever color I want. I can make it pink, orange, red, like whatever you want, you can do that. So that's the halo section. So the halo section is always a brake signal. That's what I tied to the halos. So make that white, put that in the middle. Next, demonize. This build has demonize, and I tie the demonize to your reverse signal. So if I want to turn my demonize on, I hit this and I click on. The demonize on, you can see they come on. Every time you're done with your demonize, make sure you go in this section and turn it off. It's always going to be on, even if the car is off, because it's tied to your battery. So just keep that in mind. So my demonize are on, and then I can just do this, change whatever color I want. Oops, I'm still on the brake signal. So remember, you got to click the color that corresponds to what section you want to change. So right now I have the halos to like a teal green. It's already picking up. I'll just change it to green. So yeah, so now I want to change the demonize. I click the demonize. Then I can change whatever color I want to demonize to. I can make it white, blue, whatever, see? Then when you're done with demonize, you just click it off. And that's off. So now I just went over every section of the headlight that I, build for you. That's very customizable. You can change the eyebrow, the crescents, the halos, and the demonize. So that's the Blueghost. That's the basics of everything. So now we're gonna go further in depth on how you can do like crazy setups and how you can turn stuff off, turn stuff on, stuff like that. So like I said, I'll be going over exactly different setups you can do that not a lot of builders do with Blueghost. So that's gonna lead us to this section. This section is the block tab. The block tab controls what the headlight does, how the headlight flows, and what is on and what is off, and the show modes. What I mean by that, so in this section you have a left and a right. Obviously you have a left and right headlight, so anything you do on the left side you have to copy on the right side. That's if you're going for like a different setup. Some people like to have a different color on the left and right. You can do that here. So what do I mean by that? So the first section, like I said, controls your eyebrow. So with the first section being your eyebrow, these are all the options you can do. Only thing you should touch in this section is anything in this little section right here. This indicates your turn signals. Don't trouble that because it's tied to obviously you want your left headlight blinking left when you have your turn signal on, so don't trouble the turn signal, so you can leave that. This icon here means your DRL1, which is corresponding to this icon here, DRL1. This icon corresponds to DRL2, which is corresponding to the second one, DRL2. So what you can do is, I already set it up for you so you don't have to touch that, but if you want to touch it and if you want to change things around, you can do that. So I could turn off my DRL on my left headlight, so if I do this, it turns off. So with that in mind, that means you can turn off your whole headlight and only have, say, the halo running or the demonize running and have like cool pictures to take or whatever. So say I want to turn off the eyebrows, I turn it off on the left headlight, I go over to the right headlight and I turn off that eyebrow. Say I want to turn off the crescents, I just want the halos on. second section is the crescent. So first section is eyebrow, second section is crescent or half moon as people call it. Third section is the demon eyes, and then the fourth section is the halo. So I just want so say I want the eyebrows off and the crescent off, right? What I do is I go down to the section 2, which is crescent, and I turn that off, click that. Then I go to section 2 on my left headlight, do the same thing, because that one's not off, and turn that off. And now I only have the halos on, and you can drive around like this with the halos on by itself. That's how you can do that. So if you want to turn it back on, remember, these icons that says 1 and 2, that's your DRL1 and DRL2. And DRL1 and DRL2 are these two. So if you want to go back to how I made it, you make your section 1, which is the eyebrow, DRL1, and then you make your crescents, DRL2, because you want to have different colors on different sections. And replicate the same thing on the second section, 1 and 2. So yeah, so that's how you do that here. So with that being said, you can kind of think of all different applications you can do with this setup. Like for instance, I can tie my headlights, I can tie my eyebrows and crescent on one DRL, and then maybe change, I don't know, put halos or demon eyes on DRL2. So yeah, so now you kind of get the hang of how everything works here. So one thing to keep in mind, the sections DRL1 and DRL2 only have one on at a time, meaning only have, say, don't do this, don't have DRL1 and play brake light on at the same time, or DRL1 and reverse light at the same time. You can only have one on at the same time, because certain sections over here override other things, and you don't want that. So yeah, so with that being said, say for argument's sake, you want the eyebrow, you don't really mess around with the crescent that much, so you want the eyebrow and the crescent tied to one headlight, to one section, you can do that. So you go over here and you just tie the crescent, section 2 is always the crescent, so just tie that to headlights, DRL1. Do the same thing on the right side, tie it to DRL1. So now every time you control DRL1, which is this section, everything ties together, see what I mean? So you don't have to worry about, okay, I gotta change DRL1 and then change DRL2, everything is tied by itself. So that's one way to make your life easier. And then you can maybe put the halos on DRL2. So I'm gonna put the halos on DRL2. Remember, the halos is the last one. Put that on DRL2, so you do that. And remember, when you put DRL2, always only have one selected at a time, or it's gonna override. So this is how you put it on DRL2. Do the same thing on the right side. DRL2, hopefully you understand. So now every time you go here and you control DRL2, you can control the halos. Yeah. And then obviously always leave the demon eyes, which is section 3, on the reverse signal, which is that right there, that little weird gear icon, that's the reverse icon. Always leave the demon eyes on that, because that's how you control the demon eyes here in the reverse section here. So that's basically it. So one thing to note, I have this default, the halos on the brake signal here. Remember I have the halos on the brake signal before, I just changed it over, but I normally send this out with the halos on the brake signal here. One thing to keep in mind, if you're running your show mode, anything that's on the brake signal is not going to show on the show mode. So right now I have the left headlights on, I have the left halo on the brake signal, and I have the right halo on the DRL signal. So anything that's on the brake signal is not going to do a show mode. So if I do a show mode right now, see, the halos in the brake signal isn't going to do the show mode. So that's one caveat of having anything on the brake signal. So if you want your halos to do show modes all the time, just put it on one of the DRL sections, 1 or 2 if you want to. So that's something to keep in mind. But I normally have the halos on the brake signal, so I can control them via the brake signal in this section over here. So I'm gonna put back the right one on the brake signal, because that's how I'm gonna do it for the customer. So yeah. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the startup animations. So here, if you look here, I have the startup animations right now. I have the eyebrow and crescents tied to DRL1, so don't mind this being red. So nothing's tied to this right now. So with that being said, startup animations. So this little section underneath the parking lights, this is where you do your startup animations. So you have multiple options to choose from, and then each option is customizable. So right now it is on scan sweep. So this is what it does when you shut down the car. When you unlock your car, it does this. So that's one option. And then again, you can control the length of the LEDs and then the speed. Another one you have is Rainbow Road. That one's my favorite. It does that when you shut down, or when you lock your car, or shut it down or whatever. And then when you unlock your car, it does that. So yeah, so like I said, anything on the brake signal is not gonna do any animation. So if you say I'm gonna put the halos on the second DRL section. So right now the halos on the brake signal, I'm gonna put it on the second DRL. Put that, second side, put that. If the car were to shut down, the halos are gonna react as well, see? So that's how that is. And I said you have multiple different startup animations that you can choose from. And then last thing, we have the switchback fade. So that basically controls how the headlights react when you activate the turn signals. So with the switchback fade on, when your turn signals are done, it's gonna fade into your DRLs without a cool animation. If it's off, it's not gonna fade, it's just gonna jump back to your turn signals. Back to your DRL. So your turn signals, jump back to white. So that's with the switchback fade off. So you can have it on if you want, and then you can control how long it takes to fade. So yeah, so that kind of covers everything on this build. Right now I'm just gonna do maybe like two unique show modes, two unique setups, DRL setups that I like to run on cars, on my personal car, that you could see how you use the whole thing I showed you, how to customize your headlights. So I'll do that real quick, and that should be the end of the video, and that kind of shows you everything that you need to know about the Blueghost and how you can customize certain things. The one setup I have the halo. I have the halo on, obviously, and I can change the colors, whatever I want. Then I have the eyebrow off and the crescent off. You can see here, I have the section 1 is the eyebrow, and section 2 is the crescent. They are off. If I turn them on, see, I turn them on and turn it off. So both of those are off on left and right. So only thing I have on is the halos. So that's one setup that I have that I like to run. Another setup that's kind of cool is having mix match. So in one section, I have the brake light on the right headlight, and then on the second section, I have the DRL2 halo selected. So one section I have the halos tied to DRL2, and then the second section I have the halos tied to the brake signal. So with that being said, I can switch between. I can have like two different colors. So if you imagine, you can do this to the eyebrow and the crescent as well. So like what I was saying is, I have the left headlight, the green tied to the brake signal, right? Then I have the second right headlight tied to the DRL2 signal. So I click DRL2, and then now I can control the colors of that. So I have mix match kind of headlights, and like I said, you can do this for the brown and crescent as well. Like I said, there's endless possibilities to do. Another setup I like to do is have just the crescents on, and then I can make the crescents red. Yeah, I can have whatever color I want, red, green, whatever. So yeah, so that's one setup you can do. And another setup that people do, some people don't like the halos, so they just turn it off. Like I said, that's simple. I just go down to the halos and have that off. See, there's nothing on the halos. Everything all on the halos is just the turn signals and the party mode. This section just controls what parts on your headlight gonna do any animations during the show mode. So if I have this show mode going on right now, right? If I were to turn this section off on the strip, see, that doesn't have the show mode. Now the strip doesn't do any show modes. So if I have it on, now the strip does show mode. So this basically tells which section does show modes. All of them have it on, obviously. So anyways, basically it's just telling this out. I just did this section or this setup to show you, okay, you can turn the halos off. If you you don't have the halos, you can just run the headlights with no halos, like that. So yeah. Then obviously, like we talked about, you can change the colors. People like to run red, no halos. And then if you want to demonize, just hit on. You got the demonize. Oops. Put this back to white and put the demonize to red. And you have the simple setup: white with red demonize with the halos off. And that's basically it. So like I said, you have full customization in all sections of your headlights. If you want to have the left headlight red, the right headlight blue, let me do that real quick, show you how that looks. There you go. You have one headlight is orange, other one is white. What I did was I tied the left headlight to DRL1. So section 1 is eyebrow, section 2 is crescent, and they're both on DRL1. And I tied the right headlight, to DRL2. Section 1 is eyebrow, section 2 is crescent. I have both of them on DRL2, which means DRL1 is white. I can make that. Let's make that green. Then DRL2, which is this, is an orangish. I can make that blue. Let's make that blue. There we go. And then my demonizer on. I can turn that off. And you can do the same thing with the demonize. So yeah, so like I said, you can do any combination you want. The possibilities are endless. That is the power with Blueghost. So yeah, that's one setup you can do. So I hope you guys enjoy this explanation of everything. Oh yeah, one last thing, sorry. Also, like you know, in this section you can turn off, turn on stuff. You can also do the same thing for the turn signals. So say you don't like the halos doing the turn signals, you can turn that off. Turn off that for the halos. So anytime you're doing your turn signals, the halos won't do it. Only the eyebrow and the crescent, you see? So yeah. So that's how the Blueghost is. So like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Hit me up in the comments or just hit me up on Instagram. I can happily answer the questions. But yeah, so this is your bread and butter. This is where you customize everything. This section and this section. You can customize to your heart's content. Have a very highly specific build that you want to have on your car. And yeah, so that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching.